A good start when the teacher is excited about what they're teaching.
Oh, I love this stuff so much. I feel so energized when I teach this stuff.
A good start when the teacher is excited about what they're teaching.
Oh, I love this stuff so much.
Oh.
I feel so energized
Okay, I need it.
when I teach this stuff.
A good start when the teacher is.
I think I'm.
You're remixing the session.
I know.
We're just gonna be on a repeat.
I was like, what is? Okay. All right, guys. Today, I'm going to be talking about we're going to be designing our ideal lives with an ideal worksheet that I've created for our How to Become Lucky class. And so we're going to be going over that. But first, we're going to be talking about life cycles because just like anything in life, um, well, I'll go into this in just a second because I have a bad thing about wanting to go right into it. But so we're going to be talking about our ideal life cycles, and identifying beliefs and goals to know when you're in alignment and when you're not, and what to do so you can get back into alignment so that you can attract your ideal life, not from a place of like hard work, but more inspired action. And you'll feel like more like this obsession, which makes you want to get up early, wants you to go to work. So you feel this energizing effect. And even after you do it, you still feel energized instead of forcing the way and getting burnout and tired and feeling like it has to be a certain way and realizing you're just in the wrong lane. You're just doing it the wrong way because it's all about how we think, how we feel, and how we act. And it all goes together, and understanding yourself and really getting clear on what you really want is like a game changer. And a lot of us kind of like, I'll ask people, what's your ideal life? Hardly anyone can actually tell me. They'll be like, oh, I just want to live a simple life with my kids and my family, maybe on a ranch, or, like I hear a lot of the same things, but it's so superficial. And I'm like, no, tell me the day to day. What's the day to day look like in your life? Like when you get up, what's the first thing you smell? What's the first thing you hear? What does it look like? Are you on a big king mattress and with white fluffy blankets around you, and the kids are running up, jumping on the bed, and the light is peering through the window, and it's like some white sheer curtains that are moving in the wind because you have it slightly open. You smell the ocean air because you're right on the ocean. Like I want you guys putting the senses in there, like all of that, so you can truly visualize what kind of ideal life do you really, what is it that you want? And then reverse engineering to figure out what you need and who do you need to become to do this. Because right now, you already get everything you think you deserve. You already have it. So the only reason you don't have this ideal life is, first off, you don't think you deserve it. You don't think it's already yours. And then maybe you don't even know what it is. You just have an idea, you have desires, you have an idea you want more, but you're not really sure what it is and what it really looks like. You think you do, but when you start asking these questions of yourself, it really goes a little deeper, and you're like, oh, I haven't thought about that. And you get to learn so much about yourself. So once you get clear on who you are, which is basically the version of you when you see yourself, and we're about to do meditation to help you guys get into this, but who do you see yourself to be at your highest potential? There's nothing else holding you back. You know your talents, you know what you're good at. And who are you? What do you look like? What do you dress? Who do you hang out with? Where do you go eat? Where do you live? Like, who is this person? This is you. It's not about you becoming someone else. It's becoming who you really were meant to be. And the life that you've had previews of, these desires that you've had previews of, is just a preview of what you get when you align to this person, who you really are. So everything that you've ever desired is your guiding post. Like that's your guidance. That's where you're heading if you want to. And that's the cool part about free will and fate and all of that. And I'll just go a little bit into that. But free will is like petty. It's like what we want for ourselves. And it's also can be like whether or not you enjoy your life or not, good or bad that's happening. How do you choose to respond and how do you choose to handle it? Do you like everything that happens in my life that's bad? I look at it like it's just an experience. Okay, cool. Probably won't ever have this happen again. So I'll just fully take this in. All right. It's just an experience. Um, when I got my stitches and they couldn't give me any pain medicines because my brain was bleeding, they're like, this is gonna hurt. I was like, you know what? How often is this gonna happen? So I take it all in and instead of like getting scared. And it's all about changing your perception on things too, but you've got your free will and then you've got fate, which this is God on this outside, and free will is you. And you can only want so much for yourself, only what you can possibly imagine. The highest thing you can imagine is what you want for yourself. Well, God wants even more than that for you. So, like, I want you guys, while we go through your ideal life, yes, we're going to be identifying it, but I want y'all to know that whatever you guys come up with, there's even a better plan made for you. And as you align to this person to reach what you think is your highest goal, this is how you get the graces, the miracles and all of that. So first off, I want us to go through so I'm going to share I shared a Google link inside of the chat, and that has these worksheets for you guys so that you can get into it. We're going to go through life cycles first because I want you guys to first we'll do meditation, then we're going to go through life cycles because I want y'all to understand how, like, if you didn't know how to farm and you're just totally ignorant about it, and you went out there and just started throwing seeds down. You didn't know what kind of fertilizer it needed, what kind of food, and how much it needed water. You didn't know anything, and you just started throwing seeds down, and you started doing it at the worst time of the season. You started doing it scorching part of the sun. So all your seeds get burned up. Maybe a few made it. And the whole time you're going to be working really hard to cultivate and make these seeds where you can harvest them, right? Because you don't know what you're doing. And you're going to be like, oh, it's so hard to farm. This is why our lives seem hard. We don't know our own cycles. We don't know our own seasons. We don't know when to plant. We don't know when to harvest, to cultivate, to nourish in our lives. So I'm going to show you guys that first. This is like ancient knowledge. It's been known for thousands and thousands of years, and it's been lost, just like farming is getting lost. A lot of people don't know how to farm anymore. They don't know when to plant broccoli. They don't know when to plant certain things. They don't know if you harvest it on a full moon, how the food is even better for you. They don't know when to actually harvest the food. And so we have lost a lot of things even recently because of technology. And there's still people who know how to farm, but there's a lot less than used to be. And this is another skill that's been lost along the way. So I'm going to show you guys this, but first what we're going to do is I'm going to take you guys through guided meditation so you guys can get ready for figuring out your ideal self and your ideal life. So if you're sitting up in a chair, just make sure you're sitting straight up, no legs or feet or hands crossed. And then inhale, close your eyes, and inhale through your nose. And inhale just a little bit more at the top. And hold it. And exhale out your mouth. Do a deep exhale. Inhale again. Inhale just a little bit more. Hold it. And exhale out the mouth. And one more. Inhale. Inhale a little more at the top. Hold. And then exhale out the mouth. With your eyes closed, I want you to picture who you are at your highest potential. Who is this? Do they work out? What do they look like? What kind of clothes are they wearing? How do they treat people? What kind of discernment do they have? Where they eat? Do they buy the organic at the grocery store? Who do they serve? Just fully take in this person. What would it feel like to be this person? No judgment. Just observe. And inhale. Inhale a little more at the top. Hold. Then exhale at the mouth. Let it fully go. Give y'all a minute. You can open your eyes when you're ready. Just so you know, anytime you have more questions about who this person is, you can go back into that meditation and just let it open up for you. Your mind, when you ask it a question, has to answer. So you can use that. And if you use it in the morning, or like when you're tired in the morning, or at night when you start feeling groggy, instead of grabbing that coffee, go towards meditation. And you're going to get so many more answers. And you're going to also bypass the conscious mind that likes to think and go right into the subconscious mind. Okay. This was another meditation I'd written down. How can you use this class to move closer to your ideal life? That's a good prompt too. All right. So life cycles. Okay. How can we make life easier instead of like planting our seeds and not understanding why they won't take? So we're going to do this for your birthdays, guys. So if y'all can pull up this worksheet here, just let me know if you can get into it. If you can't get into it, just let me know and I'll give you access. And on here is my birthday, so, but it's just an example. So like worksheet down here, if you go down from step 3, go to worksheet, personal information, your date of birth, today's date, days since your birthday, and the current 52-day phase. So if you just do that in ChatGPT, put in your birthday and just tell it this is going to be the quickest way to make sure you're accurate too. And just be like, hey, ChatGPT, here's my birthday. Tell me how many days since my birthday and what 52-day phase am I in? And you can just copy and paste this information right here from step 1 all the way to your birthday information into ChatGPT. Okay, and as you guys do that, I am going to talk about each phase. So we have yearly cycles, and then that go for 7 years long.
I
And then
apologize.
we have 52-day cycles within our 1-year cycle. And these are important to know. Hey, Andrew, did you have a question?
Yes. Did you add me to the group chat?
Uh,
I don't
on
think so.
Zoom? Is that what you're asking?
Okay, I can get this worksheet on the Zoom group chat.
Yeah, if you're in the chat right there, if you just scroll up, you'll see the link.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the 1 year cycles, it goes through 1 to 7 years. And for the, oh, these are the 52-day phase. I actually wanted to talk about the year. We'll do the 52 days phase first. So within each year though, are 52-day phases. So you have, I think 7 more phases inside of, yeah, 7 phases inside of each year too. So every 7 years, and then inside of every year are 7 more phases, 52 days long. The magic number is 7. So every 52 day phase has a unique focus for you. You know how like New Year's, like everybody's starting new intentions, but it only sets for certain people and not for everyone. Well, the best people it sets for is actually Capricorns, because that is the time for them to begin new, because on the first 52 days from your birthday is new beginnings, intentions, setting foundations. Now, if you're somebody who is like in adjustments or completion or any of these other phases, and you start trying to set intentions on January 1st, you're not going to have it work for you as well. So it's like understanding where it works for you. So like an example, like, okay, so number 1 is planting. Like we're planting the seed. You're setting your intentions. You're planting that seed for your intention. New beginnings, growth. Number 2, the next 52 days is nurturing that seed. This is growth, development, patience. You can't plant a seed and then just expect the corn to sprout right away. You gotta leave it there, have faith that it's working as long as you're doing your part. So the nurturing, you're watering it, you're feeding it, you're making sure it's getting everything it needs to grow. But the one thing you're not doing is not believing that seed's not going to grow. You've got to make sure you're giving it the nourishment it needs. So that's your part. And now the next 52 days after that's cultivation, building momentum, refining action, strengthening. Now this can be the pruning of the plant, like figuring out what parts you really need to focus on. And then harvesting. It's reaping your rewards, celebrating achievement, consolidating efforts. And then you go to expansion, growth beyond comfort zones, exploring new opportunities. Adjustment, this is when you realign, address challenges, and flexibility. This happens with everything that we try to do, guys. You're going to have challenges just because that's part of the learning curve. That's just part of it. This is like a spiral that keeps going up. And when we're down here, we're thinking like we've regressed or something, but that's not what's happening. You're getting realigned and you're addressing challenges. And then completion, that's reflecting, releasing, and preparing for the next cycle. So like my birthday, we'll just use this example. I'm in the completion cycle. So I'm at the end of my personal year. And so this means I need to honor this, but these can overlap some. So I'm in completion, but some of my planting is going to start showing up and overlapping right now at the end of my completion. The beginning of my completion adjustment was still kind of overlapping. So just understand that there is a little overlap at the beginning and the end of each cycle. So like me being in completion, it's not the best time to start new intentions. Not at least in the beginning or the middle part of it, maybe at the end when it's overlapping. And if I was an adjustment, definitely not the time to set a new intentions on January 1st. I'm not saying that you shouldn't and you can't. I'm just saying you're planting the seed at the wrong time. So it's gonna take you more work to cultivate that seed you're trying to set at the wrong time of your season. Go with your own seasons. It's going to work so much better. Don't try to be somebody else. Just honor who you are. And the more you get to know yourself and the more you honor yourself, the more you're really going to love yourself and be like, wow, I definitely do have things to offer. And I'm pretty cool. And, so just honor yourself and just start playing with what really works for you. All right. So like you guys, I'll put in here. So your phase and your theme. So if you're in completion, you're going to put that, reflecting, preparing for the next cycle, whatever phase you're in. Make sure you put that down. So what actions or intentions align with this phase? For me, it was like definitely releasing old patterns, reevaluating, and setting goals because I was at the completion for the next cycle. But my completion was like, there was even things like leaving my life, all kinds of stuff. So like you get to like what kind of actions? So me was letting go of the things that weren't working for me, letting go of limiting beliefs, letting go of the box. And I'd love to hear any feedback from you guys. If y'all want to share some of your stuff, I know this can be kind of intrusive if you're not wanting to share. So if you want to share, just know this is recorded and you can put your hand up, but I'd love to have anybody else's feedback. What challenges or lessons in this space is this phase highlighting for you? What are you noticing in the phase that you're in? What lessons or challenges? There's one and the same. For me, I realized I have a hard time letting go. When I set my mind to something, I feel like I have to make it happen. And I learned I don't have to make anything happen. That's not how it really works. So I was fighting a lot of my life, trying to force things to be a certain way because I studied all the business books. I studied all this, like it should happen this way. Like if I do this, this is the output I should get, like all of this. And I would be like, why is this not working for me in this certain area? But other areas would really work for me. And I'm like, I don't understand. And then like breaking it down, I realized certain areas I didn't mind letting go of what wasn't working because I didn't have too much of a attachment to it. And it would work for me. And the things that I had like some serious attachment to, and I didn't want to let go of, I was fighting. So that was a challenge lesson, was the letting go, the pathway to surrender, like being able to surrender without feeling like I was giving up. I had to learn that balance. And what's an action plan? So we're going to go to this next one. One action to align with this phase's energy, like journaling about lessons learned in this year or creating a vision board for the next cycle. What action can you do to align? And on any of this, anything that you're not for sure about, you're like, I don't know. That's where you can raise your hand and I'll help you out. For me, it was going outside and grounding myself on the ground. The letting go and all that had me kind of like, I found ungrounded and just honoring, needing to be more grounded. And then also getting my feelings out on the journaling. That definitely helped because it helped like really see what was really going on instead of making it more serious than I was making it. One habit to support your growth in this phase, practicing gratitude or setting intentions for new opportunities. Me was practicing gratitude for everything that was happening. Like being grateful for it all and knowing that there was a bigger part that I wasn't aware of and having that faith. One thing to let go of or complete. Let go of outdated beliefs or unfinished projects. I noticed I had like a few unfinished projects and I was like, what am I doing? I need to focus on my unfinished projects before I add any more. So then write a daily intention to stay aligned with your current phase. And these examples are like kind of like where I'm at. I release what no longer serves me and make space for new opportunities. Because like the one thing about the letting go that I've learned is that you have to make space for the new to come in. If you got like your hands full, like just imagine like energetically or metaphysically, we have our hands full, got a backpack on, that's full and everything, and like God's trying to hand us something. We're like, no, hands are full of here. It's like it's still waiting on you, but you got to let go of some stuff. Let go of what's holding you back, what's heavy for you. Let it go. Because you were only supposed to let things like flow through you. We're never supposed to hold on to anything anyway. So let it go. Be in the present. And when you just let that flow go through you and you don't have to hold on to anything anymore, it's like you constantly have space. You don't have to hold on to anything. I kind of look at us like a pipe, and the energy of all that is flowing through us at all times. So we have access to everything there is. And the only thing that keeps us from that is our own resistance. Well, what is this resistance? Well, if you think of us like a vessel or a tube, like when you hold on to something, it creates like a bubble on the inside of that tube. Hold on to more. There you go. Here's some more. Here's some more. And so it just starts creating this gunk inside of you. So the energy of all that is trying to flow through you, but you're creating your own resistance by thinking you need to hold on to anything, good or bad. Because the next moment's going to come up. It's like you're an electrical wire and you're holding on to old electricity. What's going to happen? You'll get gunked up. Anything that's holding on to anything old is going to gunk up a little bit. So like it's a process of actually surrendering and letting go in this life to be able to be that clear vessel. Like cleanliness is next to godliness took on a different meaning for me. When I started putting this together, I'm like, oh, it's the cleaner our vessel is, the closer we are to expressing true divinity in ourselves, because we can finally do that because it's not being processed through trauma or broken lenses. It's clean. And how does understanding the 50-day cycle help me align my actions and energy with the natural rhythm of my life? This is really cool. Like when you start using these cycles to really start planning your goals and doing it accordingly and being like, okay, where am I at? You may notice that you're at a certain phase and you started another phase instead. And you're going to be like, oh, what do I do now? That's okay. Look at where you are and what you did start planting and make the most of that. And then just start knowing better that you can do whatever you're wanting to do in a phase that really will work for you. So there's going to be more flow instead of fighting. And you may be another part of you may be like, no, I'm still going to do it anyways. That's okay. You can do that too. You can go you can go through head-on traffic and let me know how it works for you. But it works a lot better if you do this. Now, I know when I first started learning about these cycles, I fought it a little bit because I'm like, no, because this is the best time for me to do this because I thought I knew better. No, there's certain laws like of the world and of the universe that just, if you try to act like you don't understand it, like, hey, don't be planting broccoli seeds, like whatever date, it's like, oh, okay, but you want to still do it? Yeah, you can still do it and you can probably make some broccoli, but how much harder did it have to be? Like, did you have to build a whole greenhouse now? Did you have to do all this extra work because you just weren't in the right phase to do that particular thing? It's just a lot better to honor it. Okay, so here we go. Here's the phases. You can write the dates of these, what these phases are for yourself and put this in here. That way you can go back to it, post it somewhere so you can see what phase you're in and have an idea of how you should be planning and acting according to it. I'm not saying you have to make this govern your life. But again, if you know when to plant the seed and you know how to nurture it and harvest it at the right time, you'll get a lot more fruit with a lot more ease. So, and really the more you are just in a tune to yourself, you're naturally going to do this. Just like, when animals eat plants and then they use the restroom and poop out the seeds, and then the garden is so much better where the animals just pooped out the seeds because you didn't even have to, you don't have to weed anything, you don't have to worry about anything. Somehow those fruits just make it happen. And because they're going for the natural phase of things and there's no forcing anything, they're just allowed to be. Well, when we're allowed to be, we do better too. So it's just like a seed. So there's also the 7-year cycles. So we have 7-year cycles, and then so this is pretty cool to understand. So from 0 to 7 years, this is discovering foundation. This is when you got your subconscious mind. Oops. I don't know. I got a MacBook Pro recently, and I'm like still trying to figure this stuff out. So 0 to 7 years, discovery and foundation. This is like when your subconscious mind is open and other people are planting seeds in you. You do reap what you sow. You just didn't realize you sowed that stuff. And so for the first 7 years, you got your subconscious mind open. From 7 to 14, this is actually when your logical mind starts and analytical mind starts forming. So you get to decide whether or not you take in a certain belief. And this is also like, this is just when emotional growth and creativity, you're more aware enough that you can start paying attention to yourself and being who you really are. And then 14 to 21, this is identity and independence. This is whenever you rebel against your parents. And in tribal situations, this actually worked for us because you are less likely to breed with your parents if you're rebelling against them. I know that sounds crazy, but that was just a thing that this is how we were made, is so that naturally we would want to get away from our parents and away from our tribe and explore. And that's usually when you find your significant others during that time. So independent identity and independence. You're figuring out yourself by yourself. And then 21 through 28, establishing direction and stability. And it's okay if you felt like you didn't go through these phases in the past. 28 through 35, refinement and mastery. And then 35 to 42, expansion and contribution. 42 to 49, wisdom and renewal. And then 49 to 56, consolidation and purpose. And then 56 and on is spiritual integration and legacy. I do find it cute when like early 20-year-olds tell me that they're trying to leave a legacy. And I'm like, you don't even know anything about yourself. What kind of legacy are you gonna, you don't know. But I think, but it's, of course, that's great to have that kind of thought pattern, you know, because that person is going to do something. Hopefully they don't burn themselves out with that idea for so long. And realizing like maybe at 20 isn't the time you do your legacy unless you're dying or something. And I'm not trying to put anything in a box, even though I'm showing you guys these cycles. You can do things at any time you want. So this right here, write your birthday, put this in. Like me on my birthday, I'm in cycle 7. I'm in wisdom and renewal. So this is like why I'm starting these classes too, which I thought was funny looking at these cycles again, is that on these cycles over here, it's like, oh, okay. I'm at the wisdom and renewal cycle, and this is when I'm wanting to teach these classes and let this information out because I wish I would have learned this stuff when I was a lot younger. So each cycle too, each 7 years that I just told you guys about also has 1 to 7 year cycles inside those. So you'll notice 777. So every 7 years, and then inside of those 7 years are 7 cycles. And then inside of that 1 year is 7 cycles, also the 52 days. So the first year is planting new seeds. And it's almost the same as the 52 day cycles. If you look at this, you'll note on certain years where this is going to be even stronger in your life. So I happen to be in year 7. And I'm just now entering into year 1 again with the 43, which goes together actually. 40, the wisdom and renewal. So I have completion renewal in year 7, and then I also had that in my 52 day cycle. So this is hitting me really hard this year, the completion, renewal, letting go, preparing for the next cycle. And it makes sense because I've got a double whammy here. So if you notice that you're like an expansion and you're also in the 52 day part of expansion. You're going to notice this is like a lot more significant for you. So with my next year, next month is February 17th is my birthday. So I'll be hitting year 1 again, and I'll be hitting the first 52-day cycle. So the planting new seeds is going to be a big section for me next year, after my birthday. So that's a really big theme then. So you want to pick your birthday, do your 7-year cycle, figure that out, put this, and then this is going to be, what does this theme resonate with your current experience? Or how does this theme? And like me, for wisdom and renewal, focus on internal growth and sharing life lessons. That's exactly why I'm doing this class. And I just think it's funny how naturally it's coming together like this. Like, and what patterns, challenges, opportunities, because I'm going to show you guys some cool stuff, but because I know the themes of consciousness, I know certain things, like it's made it a lot easier during this time of letting go. It could have been a lot harder time on me. It was really hard anyways, but it could have been a lot harder. And so like what patterns, and like the whole letting go, the surrender, and understanding that it's right now, the moment is right now, but also honoring where I'm at feeling wise. It has been important, because used to I'd be like, no, everything's okay. It's all good. It's going to become better, like almost spiritually bypassing what I was really feeling instead of actually processing it. So having to process while also staying in a positive mindset of knowing it's always going to get better and it's always working out for me was a big theme for me. And I already thought about that kind of stuff anyways. Yes. What's up, Katie?
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the step 2 to try to determine my current life cycle,
Mhm.
to determine the 7-year cycle. And I'm looking at the math, and the math doesn't math for me
Okay.
or my
So
calculator.
how old are you?
So if I just turned 30.
Okay. So you're in refinement mastery.
Gotcha. Well,
So
I'm trying to find the 7-year cycle. And so what I'm doing is I'm trying to do step 2 right here.
mhm. So you're going to
And
be in year 3. So 28. So 28 is year 1.
okay.
Okay. And actually I was wrong when I said 43 starts my year 1. 28 will be year 1.
Okay.
29 is year 2. 30 will be year 3.
Okay.
31, 4, 32, 5, 33, 34. Yeah, did I say that right? Here,
I-
give me you can do ChatGPT too. Let me do
Gotcha.
that.
Because I was trying to use the math when it said divide my age by it, but when I'm looking at the example that's on the worksheet, it says
Mhm.
43 divided by 7. And the answer that you have on there isn't the answer that my calculator is giving me. I'm sorry.
You're good. That is what this is for. What's your date of birth?
November 22nd,
And what year?
1994.
You're in year 3. Okay.
Okay.
Cycle 5, year 3. Harvesting results, celebrating achievement, refining actions, consolidating efforts.
Okay,
Again, you guys.
I've got a question in all of this.
Uh-huh.
So I'm 60.
Mhm.
So from here on out, it's just going to be spiritual integration and legacy.
Pretty much.
So I don't have a year one or a year two. I'm just, this
You
is,
do. It starts over again every 7 years. So you'll still have the one, year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It just keeps on starting over and over after year 7. But you're still just going to be in this cycle of spiritual integration and legacy during that time frame.
okay.
And you haven't missed out on if you're like, man, I didn't do all that.
And yeah, I feel like I'm in the emotional growth, maybe discovery and foundation. I think I skipped everything. Yeah.
No, that's okay. Actually, so this is astrology kind of stuff, but like they call it Saturn returns, and it happens when people hit 55. It's if they didn't do it in their like 33, 35 section, that it comes back around for them to do it again. Like if the life lesson that came at you, if you're like, nah, I'm gonna just keep working at the warehouse, or I'm gonna keep doing this because, family obligations, whatever belief you've made up for yourself at the time, to not do it. But there was a moment in your life you felt very drawn to do something and you may not have honored it. So like year 55, 56 to 58 is usually when the Saturn return happens. So you will actually feel like you're going backwards.
Oh my gosh, that explains so much. Katie, you're young enough. Learn from this. Okay. When you get that inkling, that gut feeling, just do it. Just go with it so you don't have to repeat all the mess.
And this is so important. This is like why I want to teach this so badly. Like, I was told be charging a lot more than I do. It's like $33 a month. And I feel like the value I provide in the class is like totally worth it. But
Mhm.
this stuff, like, man, if people know that, hey, when you get that inkling, do it, like for real. And this is why, like you have this life and like honor what time you have here. And instead of like making excuses, and that's what we do. We take our obligations and we make them excuses for like, oh, I can't do that because I have to take care of this, or I can't do that because I have to do this. That's an excuse, because if where there's a will, there's a way.
Okay.
What's up, Andrew?
Hey, Mitzi, can we do mine?
Yeah. What's your date of birth?
January 9th, 80.
You're in cycle 7, year 3. So you're in wisdom and renewal, but you're in year 3.
Okay.
I think I'm actually in year 2. I was saying year 1. Anybody else want me to do this for them?
Yeah, I kind of think I'm in year 2.
Okay. Oh, I am in year 1. Yeah, planting new seeds. I felt like it. This is
And that's
You
what
told
you're
me
doing.
that.
feel it coming up too. Like I'm feeling it.
You told me that just the other day. You was planting new seeds.
Yeah, and I didn't do the cycle stuff until recently when I was teaching it again, and I'm like, why am I, like I just kind of put that by the wayside, but I've been doing it naturally, and it's because I've just been learning to honor myself more. So the cycles were coming to me naturally. So it's kind of funny, but they used to not. It was a fight. Jeanette, what's your birthday?
10/2/1964.
You're in year 5, expansion and growth, beyond comfort zones, exploring opportunities, and leaving a meaningful legacy. Focus
Okay.
on contributing to others, embracing new opportunities for personal or spiritual growth, and expanding how you impact those around you. This is a time of abundance and exploration.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Would you do one for my brother? Okay, his birthday is November the 14th, 1967.
Oh, he's a Scorpio?
Oh, yeah.
Sagittarius. He's
He's Scorpio.
Scorpio. Okay. My rising sign is Scorpio. No wonder we get along so well. People say they hate Scorpios, and I'm like, I don't know. I get along with them well. They don't go off on me.
Yeah.
So he's in year 1. So his is new beginnings,
Okay.
setting new intentions. This is a good time for him to start something new.
Okay. Good. Good, good, good. That aligns with some things. This is wonderful. Okay.
Go back to mine so I can get a screenshot real quick, Mitzi.
Yeah.
You're going to post the replay, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay.
There you go, Andrew.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, you got to do Ryan's now. You've done everybody else's.
Ryan, do you want me to do yours too?
Sure. March the 3rd of 76.
I got so many cool things to show you guys. This is just the start. Okay, so you are in year 7 of cycle 7.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm losing a lot of people.
yeah. Yeah, that was me too. You feel like it's almost like everything's going, it's all going to hell in a handbasket. Like,
No, we're past that.
okay, good. I'm past that too, so I'm glad. Yeah. So there we go. That's y'all's life cycle. So you guys can figure out in here now, what's your theme? How does this resonate to your current experience and current year theme? Just so that you can put that on here and be aware. And then what lessons and opportunities are presenting themselves right now because of this cycle you're in. And there's no cycle that's bad or good. There's going to be pros and cons to every single one of them. There's going to be growth in every single one of them, and they're all a gift, and it's just all an experience. So it's not like, oh man, I want the new. If you were always just trying to start something new, you wouldn't that wouldn't be as enjoyable either. So these cycles make it enjoyable because you get to have, the different you get to go through the whole cycle and actually cultivate and harvest what you actually sowed by honoring these cycles. So then it's creating an action plan. One action to align with your current cycle's theme. One habit to support your growth in this phase. One area to let go of or realign. And the habit could be simple. When I start feeling overwhelmed now, if I can't take my shoes off and step on the ground, I will take longer out breaths. I'll inhale and take a longer out breath and just go back to my breath instead of my head that wants to be all over the place. I go back to my breath.
Can I share mine, Mitzi?
Yes, please.
So it's one habit that I wanted to stop, and it says that I need to work on patience. Let me get back to it. It says, let's see, patience and development is kind of where I'm at. Development for sure in my career, and patience with myself. And that also has to do with, okay, I'm not going to be great at everything but I need to still have confidence in myself. And one of the things, the bad habits was simple, biting my nails. Because to me, when I see my nails super short and that I bit them, I feel like it shows lack of confidence in myself. Like I'm nervous all the time. And outward, it shows lack of confidence. And so I started working on not biting my nails.
Oh, good. Glad to hear. Is that when
Good
you have
stuff.
to, Mhm.
No, I was just saying good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not always easy changing habits because it's like so ingrained in us. It's become a program. And that's the other stuff that I talk about in this class that I hold on the school community. And we talk about the law of becoming. Like where you're at right now is the law of becoming. You're becoming that version of you that you want to be by stopping it. And as your nails grow out, that's the becoming. And then there's the law of assumption, where if you use those together, you can really do an identity shift and realize you don't have to be the old you anymore. You get to decide. And then you can embody that. And then you become that. Thank you for sharing. So daily intention, each day set a simple intention to stay aligned with your current cycle. Guys, it doesn't have to be difficult. Y'all don't have to set up huge intentions, huge, I have to do this, I have to do, it could be something very simple. Even the simplest stuff can take you far. Actually, it's usually the simplest stuff. Just a little degree off and it'll take you way off in the long run. Like it's just little things like increments. So that it's easy on you instead of being overwhelming. It's the overwhelming stuff that makes you start forcing things and trying to make it a certain way and fighting life the way it is. And instead of just honoring the present moment, like if, like example, like some of the stuff that I talk about in class, if you're like, taking your inspired action and you're coming from a place of obsession because of inspired action, like you may get like a message, clean your garage. And then you want to fight that, be like, no, I don't have time to clean my garage. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got all these deadlines. Clean your garage. Because if you fight it, it's going to take you a lot longer. And then if you just go clean your garage, there's going to be some business card that you find that's going to transform everything from that point on that you may have forgotten about or whatever. But clean the garage, stop at the gas station, talk to that person, go wherever you're being inspired to go. That's inspired action. That's how you get further. And it's so hard because we think it has to be a certain way. Well, you didn't stop and just cold call private investors for money. No, I would have the inspired action to go to a coffee shop. And while I was there, a financial advisor was meeting people to put money into real estate. And I just happened to be there. And it was much more enjoyable. And this actually literally happened to me, guys. Like I was doing this whole flow thing. It was a few years ago, and I was like learning to quit fighting the inspired action I was getting because it wasn't like along the lines of the way it should be. Like nobody told me in my time blocking to just follow inspired action, so like I'm all over here with my time blocked like a spiral. And I'm like, from this time to this time, I'm looking up deeds of trust into the county clerk, and then I'm pulling all these private investor numbers off these deeds of trust. And I'm going to skip trace them for the next hour. Then I'm going to cold call them, and I'm going to do this. And like I get down and I pulled up county clerk, and all of a sudden I get this message, go to the coffee shop. And I'm like, I've got so much work to do. I don't even like coffee. Why am I going to a coffee shop? This makes no sense. And I'm like, like still doing my county clerk, and it's like, go to a coffee shop. And I'm like, why would I go to a coffee shop? I don't like coffee, and I'm working right here. It's so much more productive. I'm thinking this in my head. It's much more productive. And then I'm like, who am I arguing with? First off, am I like, did I go crazy? Why am I arguing with the voice in my head? And I was like, oh, wait, this is an idea. This is coming from God. It's coming from a greater power than me. And it's telling me what to do, and I'm fighting it. I was like, okay, Mitzi, stop. So I put my computer down. I was like, okay, let's go to the coffee shop. Didn't even know what coffee shop to go to because I didn't go to coffee shops. So just Google Maps, coffee shops, went to the first one, was there, had no idea what I was doing. So I just started working on my book. And because I was like, I can't call in here, so I don't know how I'm going to reach my goal today. And I'm like, whatever. So I let it go. I let go of how I was going to do it. So I let it go. And there's a guy talking behind me, and he's like, oh, yeah, I need to meet up with a bunch of people. They all get about $2 to $3 million each to put into something. And I think I'm going to talk them into putting in real estate. I just need to find somebody that can find the discounted properties. And I was like, what? And I'm like, I don't know when to say something. And I didn't feel like it was the right time to say it. So I was like, okay, I'm going with the feelings. Okay. So I started writing my book again. And I'm like, I gotta let it go at the same time. I had to practice that whole letting go at the same time of being ready. And so like all of a sudden he says, yeah, nobody says what they want to say on Facebook anymore because they're scared of how people are going to judge them. And I said, not me. And it just came out like so like easy that it wasn't anything forced. It was just like I couldn't help but say it. So I was like, not me. And they're like, oh, what's your name? And I'm like, Mitzi. And so they start asking me about me. And they were like, what do you do, Mitzi? And I was like, well, I'm in real estate and I help people find discounted properties. I pretty much use the same sentence you just said. And he was like, we need you. He was like, do you mind sitting in on all my appointments? I don't know how are you open today? And I was like, yeah, actually, I was just writing on my book. And he was like, yeah, can you sit in with me in my appointments and we can talk to them, like let them know that I already have you here that can find the property. So I was like, yeah, I'd be happy to. He was like, I'll pay for your food and all that. I'm like, yeah, of course. I'm glad to serve, and like the rest of that day, which is meeting private investors with the money ready to go while somebody's telling them to put it in properties. Had a way better day, much more enjoyable. Then had I sat down and called county clerk, looked through county clerk and called all these people, skip traced them, and did it the way that I thought I needed to do it. And so it was like understanding that inspired action is not forced. If you sit there and you feel drained or you feel, I want to do this, you're doing it in the wrong energy anyways. And everything's like energy is a boomerang. You're going to get back the same energy you put out. If you put out like a place of lack, like you're doing that because you lack something, guess what you're going to get? More lack. Have you seen somebody work so hard and they can't get a deal done or they can't get something done? And you're like, and you see them working really hard, but you're like, you're kind of spinning your tires, but you're not doing it right. And as you see somebody who's enjoying themselves, they dropping papers all over the place, they're clumsy, and you're like, how is that person who's not even as smart as me making it happen? I should be the one having all this. Look, they can't even keep their papers in their folder because they're in a state of joy. They're enjoying themselves. They're in the moment. And even though they don't look like they're in the moment for themselves, and so things are just flowing for them. And it's because they know how to take that inspired action. And some people don't have to be trained on this. They just do it naturally. And you look at them and you're like, why are they so lucky? That's why I call this class How to Become Lucky, because I teach you the stuff that we need to know to be lucky. So that's the cycles. So now the ideal life. And I don't know, I may have to turn this into 2 classes, but we've got the ideal life worksheet here. So I want you guys to pull this up because the next thing after this one, which I'll have to break this up into 2 classes, is understanding your beliefs and your goals. So when you're making these goals for your ideal life, tuning in and paying attention, does this goal feel good? Does it come from a place of joy or is it coming from a place of force? Like, I think it needs to be done this way. So it's a limiting belief. And I want to pull this up, guys, real quick, because this is, I know I go back and forth to this in class a lot, but this is really important in understanding yourself is this is the themes of consciousness. So basically, we talked about what emotions and feelings were, how to determine the difference and how to use it for your good and how to understand yourself better. Well, here, you've got this energy, which is destructive energy. So any feeling that you have in this space that you act from is going to be destructive in your life. Desire, even, anger, pride, fear, grief, apathy. Fear and under is like a place of no action. It's just victimization, victimhood. So they don't really act. It's desire and pride and anger that is overaction. And this is usually most entrepreneurs in their hustle grind. So this is where they're working. And like, it's just not getting anywhere. It's so hard. Like, but they just need to work harder, right? Because people who work hard make money, right? The hardest I worked, I made the least amount of money. And it seems like the more money I make, the less I work. And so I can tell you that's not true. And this is the place of like duality, ego, self, separation, me versus them. It's like negative emotions. And emotions aren't negative or positive or good. They just tell you where you are in your consciousness level. How are you seeing the world and how are you processing it? So your thoughts create your feelings. So you're over here, like your emotions are created from your subconscious mind, but your feelings are actually your conscious awareness of the emotion. So like whenever you notice, oh, I'm angry. You know, like sometimes anger is being hidden, is hiding sadness or grief. You may be mad at that person for dying, or you may be mad at that person for it not working out, or whatever it is. You may have anger. But it understanding yourself is important so you can dive in where are you? And honoring where you are. You don't have to be like, no, I'm not going to feel sadness. No, that's spiritual bypassing. That's not going to do anything for you. You got to feel it. You got to feel it to heal it. And you may be like, no, but I should be better than this. Get over it. Get over yourself. You know, like we all do this wave. We all do at different times of our life. We all have different things that happen and it teaches us another lesson and a different way to look at it. So like when you're making your goals, if you notice yourself here in any of this in the goals, it's going to feel draining. It's going to feel like you're constricted, like, oh. And so then it's either changing your perception or even understanding maybe that's not the goal for you to reach where you want to go. Maybe that's a limiting belief and it's identifying it down here. And you're feeling that way because you're just tapped into a limiting belief. And limiting beliefs don't feel good inside of us. So it's all about following your joy, you know, because that's when miracles and all that stuff starts happening. So be courageous is the first step to actually having truth reveal itself. Like pride and below, truth cannot exist. You are not seeing the truth. And illness exists, not health. Everything you don't want exists down here, pretty much. This is hell. And everything up here is what you want. It's after the level of courage. So be courageous. And everything that seems like, how could this been so good? It does go above reason. It does go beyond reason because reason stops at 400. It goes into love, peace, joy, enlightenment. This is when we're truly authentic and life is just flowing. And it's that flow state, like where you can make stuff happen in minutes compared to days or weeks. Like you can write a song in 3 minutes and it's going to be a hit. This is the state to be in. But a lot of us think we got to be over here. We got to do it this way. We got to do it that way. There are no rules like that. It's understanding yourself and understanding the rules, like the universal laws, the rules that actually, like no matter what, you can't get around it. And understanding those laws are what's important, and understanding ourselves and knowing that it's not about F your feelings, like a lot of entrepreneurs like to say. No, it's about understanding your feelings. So you know what kind of level of consciousness you're in to know, do I self-care? Because when you're down here, you got to self-care, or you got to change perceptions, change some beliefs. And then you get up here and this is where you act. This is where you come to action for your goals, not down here. Self-care. Action. Because this is when it starts actually creating productivity. This is when things start happening for you. So I love this stuff. Okay. So when we go over our goals and identifying beliefs, that'll probably have to be the next class because now we're going to go over the ideal worksheet. And then in the next class, we'll talk about identifying the beliefs and creating those goals to make sure, do those goals, are they really in alignment with your ideal life and with who you want to become and what life, who you've assumed to be now that you've identified that ideal self of who you are, that's the person who's going to get this life, this ideal life. So what is this ideal life? Envision your ideal life. Take a moment. And we did a little bit of this in our meditation to help you guys out. Think about all the areas of your life and how you want to feel daily. So what does your life look like? And you can get it like this is going to be more of a bird's eye view of it, including your career. What kind of relationships do you have? Do you have loving, supportive friends? Do you have a loving, supportive spouse? Are you guys building together? I know some people are like, I'd rather be alone. That comes from trauma. I understand. Like, we were meant to be with somebody. Like literally, that's the way we were made, physically and everything. And health. How is your health? How are your finances? You as a person, your personal growth. What does this look like? And when you feel this person, doesn't it feel powerful? Feels good. And this is you. This is you. And if you're not this person, which a lot of us aren't, and that's okay, that just means you've changed yourself to make other people happy along the way. You conformed to what you were taught, how you were told to be, how, and all of that, so that you could survive, but also because maybe there was somebody who was like, oh my God, Katie, why are you dancing and singing like that? You look ridiculous. And then Katie's like, okay, I won't dance and sing anymore. Now, I'm not saying Katie's not that way, but we've had this kind of stuff. We have this kind of stuff that happens in our lives that will, or somebody may tell us, you know what, you work so hard, you're going to be so successful in life. And then you take that belief, if I work hard, I'm going to be successful in life. You're such a hard worker. Oh, that must be a good thing. You know, like there's so many little things that we pick up that we don't realize can be a bad thing because at the time it feels like a good thing. And we go through cycles. So sometimes it just doesn't belong with us anymore. It did at one time, now it doesn't anymore. How do you feel in this life? Do you feel joyful? Do you feel excited? Do you feel energized? Do you feel fulfilled? Peaceful? Having that feeling helps because your mind does not know what's true. It doesn't. You can lie to it all the time if you want to. And you might as well do it in a good way. Make it already believe that you already have what you want. And then it's going to be looking for that. The reticular activating system is going to turn on and going to be like, oh, we're lovable. We got supportive relationships. We got money coming in. All right, now I'm going to just see opportunities so I can make that true. Because that must be what's happening. And that must be what I need to look for now. The reticular activating system is going to be looking for that like a filter. And might as well turn that thing on in the right way. So visualize your perfect day from morning to night. Write down the details of what it looks like. Morning. How do you start your day? For me, it's waking up, my daughter jumping on my bed, and I've got a balcony and I've got a butler who's making my morning tea. I like to do herbal teas. And so he's doing that. And and he comes in with my morning tea, my little chai or my cinnamon spice. And then I go outside and I look at the ocean. And when I first get up, there's the sheer curtains flowing in the wind, and I do smell the ocean breeze. And I get out and I look and I just see the ocean. I see some rocks and I see just some beautiful cliffs. And then like in the afternoon, I do lunch with somebody I love, somebody I care about. And or I go on a walk by myself, just depending what I need at the moment. And then after lunch, I only work for about another hour or two, and then I'm done for the day. In the morning, I don't start work until about 10. I do all my morning routine, spend time with my family, and I start work from 10 to about 12. And then from about 1 to 2, I work. I work maybe 3 to 4 hours a day at max. The rest of the time is relationships. They're really important to me. And being able to be there for my friends, for my business associates, for my family. And then in the evening, when everything's done, it's having dinner with my family, maybe playing some board games or just talking about our days, joking, laughing, hanging out. And it's just an environment of just feeling homey and comfortable and loving and safe. And then and so you get to decide, what does this look like? What does it smell like? I even smell some fire from a fireplace, maybe at night during the cold days, like, just different things coming in. Vision, what do you do for work? What impact do you make? Public speaker, I'm here to help raise consciousness so people just live a life of more like alignment. They feel inspired to do the things they do. They don't, so they're not drained anymore. And of course, I need to get better at that. And I am becoming better at that. I'm coming up with my way to explain what I do. What's one step you can take now to align with this vision? Starting my How to Become Lucky class, and I already have. And finishing writing my book on it with all these worksheets in it to help people, and come up with my journal so that people can go through it. If they don't want to read the book, they can just go through the journal and work it. So health and wellness vision, you know, I know I'm talking about myself, guys. Y'all can, if you want to raise your hands, y'all can talk about y'all stuff too. How does optimal health look and feel like for you? Well, I got some nice arms, but it's not like too manly or anything. Like it's still feminine, but they're like, you know, they're not chunky. And yeah. And I my waist is cinched in. Like when I gain weight, I look like an apple with toothpicks sticking out of it. So it's not the best look. So my weight is cinched in. And I just have great posture because my muscles are strong in the right ways. One goal, one step to now prior towards you. Well, I go work out. And I try to go at least 3 to 5 times a week. I really enjoy it actually, because it's inspired action. So I feel excited to go. Because I'm becoming, and I am my best self. And my best self goes to the gym. It goes and works out because that's how badass she is. What kind of relationships do you have with family, friends, or a partner? Very loving, supportive, peaceful, joyful, adventurous. What's one step you can take now to deepen or create meaningful connections? Reach out to my friends more often. Maybe put it on a calendar, you know, whatever you want to put there. Put on the calendar to start reaching out to people. I'm one of those, I'm bad, out of sight, out of mind. It's like, I won't talk to somebody for a year and be like, it's been a year. Like, I want to do better than that. So, and you get to decide, what do you want to do better at? And it's okay if you were a certain way, you get to decide. Your vision, what does financial freedom mean to you? Doing whatever the hell I want, whenever I want to do it. Helping whoever I want, whenever I want to do it. One goal, what's one step you can take now to improve your financial situation? Get rid of some of these flips I have going on. Sell the trucking company with Andrew.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's do it. Personal growth. What does personal growth and self-discovery look like for you? Doing the things that I've always made excuses that I couldn't do yet. Do it now. Start coming up. I started doing a mentor to help me with my business plan for my wellness spa. And that's part of what all this is going to be. It's going to be pretty expansive. It's a pretty big idea that I have. One goal, what's one step you can take now to invest in your personal growth? Well, the mentors. Reverse engineering goals. So the big goal. And so what's your big goal? And if it's so big that you need to break down that big goal, that's okay too, guys. I understand that. So you put that down, and then what's your first significant step? What's the next step after milestone 1? You know, just take one step at a time. Have you ever gone down? So I went to Guatemala and there was like these really steep stairs on the side of a volcano. And this lady was like, oh my gosh, looking at all these stairs are so scary. And I was like, just look at one at a time. It's not so scary. And she was like, oh, girl, you're right. Okay, I'm just going to do one at a time. I'm like, well, that's all you can do anyways. What are you going to do? Skip a few? Like, probably would not have been good. So just do one at a time and it makes it a lot easier. And if you can't see the next step, that's okay too. Milestone 3, what's the next one? And then what's some daily actions? One small step that you can take daily to work towards this goal. Like if you're writing a book, could you write like 2 pages a day at least? I know that's not that much, but knowing it's not that much It makes it easier for you to do the goal. You don't, and I'm not saying you have to make small goals. You figure out where it needs to be for you to actually come to action and believe it can happen. Align your current life with your ideal life. So what's currently stopping you from living your ideal life now? Pretty much your limiting beliefs, your habits, your distractions, your obligations you use as distractions. You know how many times that you'll create a distraction and not realize you created it? Because that reticular activating system's on, like looking for it, like, oh my God, we're busy, we got a deadline. Oh, look, the garage needs to be organized. Or, oh, I need to make dinner. Like you could order pizza.
Okay, Mitzi, what would be the difference between that and the inspired action?
So if you have the inspired action, they come from different places. So it's like two different languages. So whenever you get an idea, pay attention to where it comes in. Pay attention whenever you get that voice that comes in and says, hey, grab that extra dollar, and you don't, and then you needed it after all. Or like, hey, grab the extra set of keys. And you're like, no, I'm not going to. And then you needed it after all. Pay attention where that comes in.
Okay.
And then pay attention when you have thoughts, because ideas and thoughts are come from two different places. The thoughts are just recycled garbage. The ideas come from somewhere else. And so if you're looking for a distraction, you'll be thinking. The inspired action just comes to you. And a distraction, you're looking for it, so you're not fighting it. The inspired action, you may actually be like, that's so stupid if I do something like that. That's not fitting my box of how this needs to be done. Your distractions fit your limiting beliefs and keep you there.
Okay.
And that's what, like, this next worksheet that we'll work on next time off this series is actually going to help you figure out which one's which too. But great question.
Okay.
What can you let go of to create space for your ideal life? What's something that's been kind of holding you back that you know? And you have the limiting belief that you got to keep it for some reason. Or you got to keep doing that. Maybe it's handling somebody else's problems that's really not yours. So put that in there too, because that can be eye-opening. What habits will help you align with your vision? Getting up in the morning and doing like 7 things I'm grateful for, and then looking in the mirror with my affirmations is like very important. So with our goals that we're going to create on the next worksheet, we're actually going to have affirmations to say that will align us to those goals. So we are just like kind of like a computer that can be programmed, and we are programmed. That's how our brains work, is by being programmed. So like you have your conscious thinking, but that takes a lot of energy, expends a lot of energy. So after you do something for so many times, it stores it in the subconscious mind, so it doesn't have to use as much energy. And that becomes a program. And that's basically a habit. So you don't have to think about it. And in fact, if you don't do it, you may even feel really uncomfortable not doing it. Like smoking that cigarette or, turning on that TV, because it's a habit now. If you create good habits, then you don't have to worry about the discomfort of having to undo that. But we have come with bad habits because we picked it up from our parents. And that's something else. Like people say it's hereditary. DNA is just basically a big USB chip. And it's just a storage center for everything up to this point in you, even some of your past and your ancestors and all that. So you're creating a new little USB to insert into another being when you have children, basically. So your traumas, your decisions, how you've handled your own health, all of that does download to the other person, but they have to turn on certain triggers for that to come on. Genetics is what we like to call it, hereditary. Everything basically that your mom did and your dad did, you did technically inherit. But this doesn't mean you have to be overweight because they're overweight. This does not mean you have to because there's so much other stuff in the DNA that you can turn on that's good. that you don't have to just do the same habits they did that turned on those specific things. And you can even kind of cut it off so that when you have children, they don't pick up that same trauma. That's the importance of healing too. So, what habits will help you align to your vision? What's one habit you can implement today? Maybe it's just observing before acting, taking that deep breath before you say or do something so you can become more mindful. Like, why am I doing this? Okay. Thanks, girl. I know this lasted a while. Thank you for being here. And so now, daily intentions. What's intention you can set each day to stay aligned to your vision? I will focus on inspired action today and trust the process. Write an affirmation to enforce your ideal life. I'm living my ideal life with ease and joy. Abundance flows to me effortlessly. From places known and unknown for my highest and best good. And then this is just a reflection, check-in, space. So what progress have you made towards this ideal life this week? What challenges did you face and how did you overcome them? What's one thing you can do differently next week to stay aligned? So you guys can keep going back to this. Now we have 2 more worksheets that I wanted to go through. And of course, we've already spent almost 2 hours here, if not 2 hours. And so I want to leave that for the next series, but we'll go through that again and we could do that Thursday, same time, and I'll send that out to you guys. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the class. And if you want to learn, go deeper, you can join my Happy, Healthy, Abundant community. It's only $33 a month for now. And whoever gets in now at 33, it's always going to stay 33 for you. All right, you guys have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Missy.
Thanks, guys.
All right, bye.